Yo, what up guys? Travic here, and today I want to show you something really cool. About a week ago, I was shown this and I thought it was really interesting, so I had to build it. But this is the Rake Bleed Bloodmage, and essentially what it does is it bleeds your target to death, and then when it feels like it, it pretty much just one-shots your tier 4 bosses. Now I did this clip at level 84, and there's a whole lot more damage to go. Now this character is an absolute blast to play. I just recently leveled it. You see in this clip playing before you, I am level 84. I don't have all my passives. I don't have all of I pretty much don't have everything yet. And I'm still able to just kind of go through content at my level and just pretty much cruise. You see here, even going into Xesh 4, we're doing the breach, and we're able to just pretty much lightning spear down everything. Now, some may contribute this to be lightning spear being insane, and while that does play a factor in it, Bloodmage brings a lot to the table to make this archetype really kind of explode. Now, I wasn't expecting it to do anywhere near as well as it done, or I have seen clips about it, I've seen a bunch of people playing it, I've seen it on PoE Ninja, I've seen it on Reddit, and I was really intrigued, so I put it together to see what would happen. Leveling started out a little rocky. I followed the lazy Exile for the first couple of acts, and then about Act 4, I started playing and building into this. And at first I was like, man, this just it's not kicking, it's not working. But every level, every upgrade, every little bit refining that I've done to the build, it became smoother and smoother, and to the point where I was like, let's just go try some bosses and see what happens. And well, you can see right now, I walked into Xesh 4 with my 6-link lightning spear at level 84, and it wasn't bad at all. And you can see bleed is really powerful. If you get bleeds on these mobs, if they don't just insta die, they will bleed and they will die very, very, very fast. And bleed in itself, especially on Bloodmage, is an insanely good archetype. Now, bosses require a little bit of, working parts to get going, and you're going to see that in a second when we get over to Xesh, just how it works. And I have a clip of me fighting King of the Mist, and you'll see what happens if you do the combo wrong. And overall, the mapping experience with this character feels fantastic, and bossing is really smooth as long as you press the buttons in the right order. Fortunately for us, Path of Exile 2 is an extremely heavy combo game, and we are surely delivering that with our one-button combo. Well, one button plus some setup. So what we're going to do is we're going to go walk into the boss fight now, and we're going to drop our Orb of Storms. It's going to build up rage. Once we build up rage, we are going to curse the boss. At the time of recording, I was manually cursing. I am now on blasphemy. We are going to curse the boss, infernal rage the boss, and then literally kill the boss. So you see we have the Orb of Storms. It's building our rage. We are going to curse and do all that fun jazz to the boss, and then we're going to rake the boss. We're going to wait for Rake to take about 25% of its health, and then we're just going to absolutely, one-shot the boss and just kind of see how it goes. And like I said, I was level 84. Now we're going to kick on over and we're going to take a look at what it looks like to do second phase of King of the Mist tier 4, and you can see the exact same thing. Put the combo off, Rake starts ticking, and then I hit him a little premature, and then we do the combo again and we just finish him off. If you hit him premature or you don't have enough oomph or damage, you'll need a little bit of work. Now, as mentioned, this character can map extremely well too. It does bosses very well. I have friends that are doing their vase runs. I have friends that are carrying Sakamis doing this. I have friends that are doing all kinds of content with this, and it just provides to be just an insanely powerful character, especially if you like the archetype of playing with spears. Yes, spears are strong. Yes, they'll probably get nerfed in the next patch. Yes, I understand there's a bunch of people screaming and crying for nerfs, but you know what? While they're here, we're gonna play them, and if they do get changed and they do get nerfed, we'll find something new, something stronger, and something that can even do the same exact thing. There's so many cool builds and variants out on PoE right now that, there's just a lot of hidden gems that a lot of people aren't talking about. Just yesterday, I saw a build that just AFK Simulacrum as a Thorns Blood Boil build, and I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. That's next, and that is 100% next that we're putting together. So we're gonna probably put that together next. Now, as far as mapping goes, I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit in this and jump right over to the map boss so that you guys can see what a map boss looks like. And then here we're going right into this map boss fight. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to prep our Orb of Storms. We're going to curse the boss. We're going to Infernal Cry the boss. And then we're just going to completely and utterly kill the map boss. You see right there, we missed. We didn't get our skill off. and then we hit him there, he bleeds, and then we just kill him. Boom. That's it. Just as simple as that. Now let's talk about the character and what's going on and what makes it tick. The biggest reason that we're playing this character is Bloodmage. Bloodmage gives us blood barbs, which gives us elemental damage, contributes to bleed magnitude. So knowing that means we can scale a whole lot of damage and everything works out great. So that's why we're picking Bloodmage, and Bloodmage is really important. On top of that, it says, you know, if the mob is cursed, it's aggravated. But before we go too deep into details on the passive tree and all that, that's just why we're playing Bloodmage. Let's talk about the skills and what's going on. As you saw, we were level 84 in that clip. We're now level 85. We are capped resistances. We are currently working on fixing our evasion. A couple more levels, that'll be all taken care of. And the POB down below will have a more flushed out tree for you. But overall, here's what's going on. First and foremost, we don't need this. This is coming out. We are playing with Life Remnants. Life Remnants is the biggest bread and butter to our survivability. Currently, right now, I have 2,085 health, and with Life Remnants, I go as a little bit like 41, 4,200. As I get better gear and as I level some more, I will push high into the 5,000 plus health marker. Essentially, Blood Remnants is what Grim Feast used to do, except it gives us life instead of energy shields, so we get to overcap on our life very, very, very well. And you get to spawn a Blood Remnants on critically hitting a target, and you just always crit, so you're always spawning Blood Remnants, so they're all over the map. We're going to pair that with Precision so that we make sure that we can actually hit things because it is an aura. We have Dissipate to give us more effect of our remnants. We have Interlude so that the effects of remnants occur, 3 seconds after being collected, so we get more effect. And then we have Magnetism to pick them up from further away. So we really want to juice up the effects of our remnants so that we get the nice effect very quickly. Our main damage dealing skill is going to be Rake. Rake is what you saw as how we hit the bosses. You rake the boss, their bar starts moving from bleed damage, and then you finish them with Blood Hunt. But Rake is the main damage dealer here. You are going to quality and level your Rake. You're going to put it with momentum so that Rake deals damage, as long as we're moving at least 2 meters. Since Rake moves us, this will always be triggered. We have Ambrosia to give us more damage per flash charge consumed, very specifically Mana Flask. Contort for more damage based on life flash charges. Deep Cuts for magnitude of bleeding, and Overextend for critical strike damage. Now you're going to notice very quickly with Ambrosia and Contort, you're going to need a flask to pair with this, and you want to have very specifically increased charges on your flask. Very, very, very important. The more charges on your flask, the more damage your Rake will do. And this is a really good example of tooltip numbers are misleading, because this doesn't calculate the bleed and all the other factors that go into it, and it can't really calculate consuming charges. But you get 3% of damage as extra lightning per mana flash consumed, your mana charge consumed, and over here 3% more magnitude of bleeding, and these use 20% of your maximum charges. So every time you click this skill and you have max charges, it uses charges there. So very important. Our main overall clear skill is going to be Lightning Spear. Lightning Spear we have with Martial Tempo. We have it with Lacerate so that our Lightning Spear bleeds. We have Volt because Volt is an insanely strong skill so that we can bounce all around the map. We can build up our Volt charges and throw our Lightning Spear. We have it with Gamble Shot, which is a really interesting change compared to what we did on the Huntress. I saw a Gamble Shot on all the POBs and we gave it a shot. Projectiles fired by supported skills fork chain an additional time, or pierce. Projectiles for supported skills deal less damage. But since Lightning Spear does what it does, and when it hits the target, it just kind of forks all over the place. Alongside Volt, we have this. You can change this out for Scatter Shot or for Fork, or not Scatter Shot, for Fork if you'd like. That's another option. And then lastly, we have Perpetual Charge to not consume charges. One of the reasons why Lightning Spear is so strong is that when it consumes a Frenzy Charge, it really scatters across the screen and beautifully does damage to everything. So we want to make sure that we're able to keep that up. Now, to pair with everything, we have Blood Hunt. Blood Hunt lunges at the target and skewers them, hitting an enemy that has suffered blood loss will cause an explosion, also consuming the bleeding. So pretty much what happens is if we cause blood loss on an enemy and we have blood loss, Blood Hunt will take that damage and just magnify it and pretty much just explode. You deal 25% of the consumed blood loss as an additional unscalable fizz damage, and it just completely blows up the boss. And then we have that with Behead so that we can in maps get some rare effects from modifiers, close combat to deal a little bit more damage, and Tear for 50% chance of on-kill effects causing by killing blows on bleeding to occur twice. So, you can have Blood Hunt just go, but that's the big thing. So pretty much that's the combo. You Rake, you Blood Hunt, and anything else that's still alive, you can just Lightning Spear, or you Lightning Spear, then Rake it and Blood Hunt. Very straightforward and very simple. Now, in the clips that you saw earlier, we were using Enfeeble. Enfeeble, as I mentioned, pairs really nicely with the Bloodmage Ascendancy, giving us the aggravated bleeding. Originally, we were casting Enfeeble by hand, but my buddy Kay did some research and he found out that there's plenty of people using Enfeeble on a Blasphemy support, and he said try it out, it worked really well for him. So we tossed Enfeeble on Blasphemy so that we don't have to worry about pressing another button and we can automate the process a little bit more. You do indeed need to quality your Blasphemy to fit it in. You do need to have quality on your Feeble so it has more magnitude. You want persistence so that it lasts longer, and you want magnified effects so that it reaches further out. But pretty much you just walk up to a mob, it'll get blasphemed, and you're able to just do your whole combo. Infernal Cry is what I had also mentioned in this combo. Infernal Cry empowers your next melee attack to consume additional endurance charges, and your empowered attack gains 35% damage as extra fire per 5 power of the enemy up to 150. Because we're using these on uber bosses or pinnacle bosses, we get a ton of power and a ton of extra fire damage that we really put into that oomph of that bleed. And since we're playing Blood Mage again, and Blood Mage scales off of elemental damage, that fire really scales the magnitude of bleed to the moon. I did try this on Huntress. This one node is just bonkers in terms of everything. So Infernal Cry is just an absolute powerhouse. We're gonna pair that with Rage and Cry, so we grant 4 rage per 5 power consumed. We have Enraged Warcry to consume rage to give us more damage, and then we have Premeditation for just more damage on top of everything. Now we have Orb of Storms. Orb of Storms is what you saw earlier. We're using Orb of Storms to generate rage, more damage, more rage, more rage consumed by more Infernal Cry, more elemental damage, more bleed magnitude, more harder hitting Rake equals harder hitting Blood Hunt, which one-shots the boss. Just kind of recapping all the steps here. Orb of Storms we have with Brutality. We do not want our Orbs of Storms to deal damage at all. We don't want it to take off the damage. We benefit on the mob being on full life for our initial hit, so we don't want Orb of Storms to ruin that. Font of Rage to generate us rage, and Ambush to help us 100% critically strike to just kind of like do kind of whatever. You really don't need it. It doesn't really do anything, but it's there, and that's what everybody else was using. I don't know why it's there, but it's there, so just don't question it. Or if you know why the hell it's there, just let me know, because I have no fucking idea. Herald of Thunder! Herald of Thunder is what we're using to clear maps. Herald of Thunder is an absolute powerhouse of clearing maps. Herald of Thunder speaks for itself if you've played the Huntress. It has Electrocute for more shock buildup, Neural Overload to prime shock targets, and Innervate to give you more lightning damage, more bleed, more kill. So Herald of Thunder is just an absolute powerhouse of a clear skill. Since Herald of Thunder cannot shock, it can indeed electrocute, and electrocute paired with Combat Frenzy gives us our frenzy charges while we're mapping. You get a lot of frenzy charges while you're mapping. It actually works out really well. You do want to quality your Combat Frenzy to gain additional charges. I just need to go do that. I haven't done that yet. And you pair it with Perfusion to gain more charges, and Cannibalism so you gain max life on kill. And then lastly, we have Wind Dancer. Wind Dancer right now is not doing a whole lot since we don't have a lot of evasion yet, but as we fix our gear and as we level up a little bit more, we'll have more evasion for Wind Dancer. Wind Dancer right now is giving us the ability to blind, maim, and gives us arm lengths for more knockback. Like I said, as we level up and gear up more, we'll have more evasion, especially as we level up and we're able to come down here and grab Bestial Skin and just better armor, and everything will work out really good. Now, let's talk about our gear and what we're doing. First and foremost, we are going to be using the Mysterious Tangle Tongue. I use this on my Huntress. You're going to want to use this here. The fact that it critically forks gives us all of our damage. You want the highest rolled crit chance percent that you can get. I have my 19% with 2 sockets. I put in 2 critical damage runes in this to give us a massive amount of damage. This weapon speaks for itself. It just hits and hits twice and hits really, 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 really hard. So that's just kind of where we're at. We're using Crown of Eyes. Crown of Eyes is a very big important role in this. You're going to see it says increases and reductions to spell damage, also applies to attacks. And this is just an amazing powerhouse of a skill and a powerhouse of a helmet. This thing does everything that you want it to do. You scale your spell damage, it goes to attacks, your attacks go to the moon, and then we get to pair it with Threaded Light as a cheap alternative to a lot of damage. Eventually, you're going to want to pair this with an amazing focus, and the focus in itself will have a ton of spell damage. We're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to show you some POBs and everything. Our amulet, very straightforward, very simple. Plus the melee skills, life, critical strike bonus, resistances with Vulgar Methods. Vulgar Methods gives us strength and critical strike chance. As you get better gear and more crit, you can change this out to more damage. I'm eventually going to upgrade my amulet to +2 to skills and just kind of fix things around. Our rings, very important. Our rings need as much flat elemental damage as possible because elemental damage scales our attacks. So this ring has lightning, fire, dex, and int. Dex and int are very important for our build, but you want more elemental damage, and we have a little bit of resistance on this ring. Same thing with this ring. We have fire, cold, a little bit of resistances, just to kind of cap us all out. Our body armor, spirit resistances, you know, energy shield. As I had mentioned, I think a pure evasion body armor will probably be better in the long run. I'm working my way towards that. I'll eventually pick one up and get it all sorted out. Gloves, I would like these to be on an evasion base. Unfortunately, they didn't exist, so I got them on an armor base or an armor evasion base. But you see the same thing again: cold, fizz, life, melee skills, crit bonus. And the boots, very straightforward: movement speed, life, int, resistances. And the same thing goes, I would eventually like to get these on an evasion base, but we're here and this is fine. And our belt is just resistances, strength, and a whole lot of life. The idea is we're playing Bloodmage and we want to scale life, and we want to make our life as high as possible to scale with the passives. Now, before I go any further, I do want to take a second and give a huge shout out to this gentleman, SHOUTOUT. I might have butchered his name, but SHOUTOUT did a fantastic job of making this Reddit thread. I'm going to include for you down below. And this is where the whole idea and the video and the thought and everything came from. So without this today, this wouldn't exist. And we saw this when he posted it. I spoke with this gentleman on PoE. I sent him a couple whispers, asked him a couple questions about the build, and the guy was absolutely fantastic. He answered a whole bunch of questions and explained really what's going on. And he's got a couple of Reddit threads, and I'll include them for you guys to read down below. But he did a fantastic job with this build, and it plays absolutely beautiful. So big shout out to him. I believe he has a YouTube channel, and it'll also be included down below in the description for you guys. Now, I had mentioned in gearing, you can eventually put things on like a new focus to get more damage. And you can see in this POB here, we just have a focus with 115% increased spell damage. It's a lot of damage. The focus also gives you a whole bunch of like resistances and stuff. So it's just something to play around with and something to consider. And then you can see here, this gentleman, the same thing, just has a more defensive setup with his offhand shield, doesn't use the Crown of Eyes. Crown of Eyes is pretty much only used for bossing. And in mapping scenarios, you can go with a setup like this, and it'll just give you more survivability and sustain inside of a map. You can see here, my buddy K was testing the build out, and he went into Sekemis, and he proc the boss in Sekemis at level 88, and he just insta-killed the first boss in Sekemis. And then my buddy K, once again, wanted to give it another shot in Sekemis. He was doing Sekemis carries. He brought in a bunch of players with him to see what would happen. And K just, you'll see in a second, just completely and utterly hit the boss, bled the boss, let Blood Hunt tick, and then boom, completely killed the boss while carrying a bunch of players. K's POB is also available for you guys down below, and you guys can check that out if you'd like. It's also in the Mobalytics so that you guys can see that there. And then that's pretty much everything going on in terms of gear, skills, and shoutouts that I wanted to give for this build. Now, I had mentioned one very important thing. We are playing Bloodmage, and Bloodmage scales off of blood barbs. It's the whole reason this thing works, and this is absolutely positively needed. On this side of the tree, we have critical strike bonus for 40 life, so more life, more damage, more everything is really great. And since we get blood remnants, we're able to get a ton of extra life, or sorry, life remnants. That comes from Sanguimancy over here. And on this side, we have 25% of life loss from hits is prevented, then that much life is lost over 4 seconds. So it gives us a nice defensive layer. You saw in the clips earlier in this video, we got hit by King of the Mist and we were able to survive. Now, as far as the pathing on the tree goes, you just take strength, dex, and int as needed for your gear. We come up over here to get more critical strike damage. We come up over here for more critical strike damage. Spell blade over here so that we can get spell damage while wielding a melee weapon. We have a jewel socket here. More crit, more crit, more crit. And the jewels are going to be roughly the same thing. Magnitude of ailments and increased magnitude of damaging ailments you inflict. Very simple running theme. More damage, more ailments, more damage, more magnitude, more damage, more elemental damage, more magnitude, more damage, better bleeds, harder hitting Rake, faster killing Blood Hunt. Very straightforward. And then we pair it with all the usual suspects. We have Blinding Strike here for more attack damage. I'll eventually get Preemptive Strike when I level some more. Like I said, I'm only level 85, and the POB down below will have everything that you need in the Mobalytics. And then we have more damage, and as I fix my gear, I'll go towards more critical strike bonus damage. Another socket over here to inflict bleeding and magnitude of bleeding. I'll eventually upgrade this to one of these as soon as I can afford it. Come up this way to enhance reflexes. Come down over here to Bestial Skin. Get this whole crit wheel, and then we have a From Nothing Diamond. This From Nothing Diamond allocates Heart Seeker or Heart Stopper. Heartstopper gives us the ability to get first approach, which says 50% of critical hit chance against enemies on full life. So this is why we have the Orb of Storms the way we have it set up, so they're at full life, so we make sure that we crit them. And then we get 40% critical strike bonus damage against enemies that are full life, another 40% over here, and 20% increased damage on enemies against full life. When I recorded that clip that you saw at the beginning, I did not have this in. I just managed to get some levels, change some stuff up, and put this in, and I would have hit even harder with these in. Moving on to the rest of the tree, you just have, you know, more elemental damage down here, skill speed, javelin for critical strike bonus, up here deterioration for damaging elements, deal more damage. We have another jewel socket down here for just, you know, magnitude of ailments, critical strike chance. And then up here, we grab these bleeding nodes over here for bleed magnitude with critical hits. You do not need this because this only gives you aggravated bleeding. And since we're blood mage and we curse, everything's already aggravated and you don't need to worry about that. And then lastly, we come up over here to wasting and fast acting toxins for just more damage. Now, like I had mentioned in the mobalytics, there's going to be a bunch of other POBs and other ideas and other ways that you can build it. And, you know, pretty much there's not a whole lot of ways you can ruin this as long as you just kind of follow the blueprint. But overall, the build in itself feels really good. It's a lot of fun to play. It is another spear build. I know people, oh my God, spears, but spears are really fun. I like spears a lot. And I'm going to play with them while they're here because I really don't expect them to survive until the next patch or so forth or so on. Now, if you guys like this video and you want more like this, please leave a comment, leave a like, give a thumbs up. All of that stuff helps the channel. And if there's another really cool build or something that you guys are interested in, or something I should be checking out or looking at, I'm always open to hearing what you guys have to say. And like I had mentioned earlier, there are just some builds that people are talking about and doing that, you know, I've been mentioning the Immortal Ritualist AFK tank build I'm going to be looking into, and all of these guys and all of these ideas come from you guys, and I truly appreciate it. For now, friends, I want this video out to you guys. Keep it a little bit on the shorter side. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. Come stop by the live stream and let me know what you guys think. But for now, friends, I'm going to do this video to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.